1, 2,
3! He thought I was throwing something. Hi, honey, we're homo. It's Tom.
And Galen.
And Disco, who is a treat pig. And this is 15 minutes of Fume.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to keep the Lupercalia train on the tracks. And it ain't easy because there's so many of them and so many real life complications that keep us from being able to film regularly, but we're doing it. So thank you for bearing with us. One of our lights broke this morning, so, you know, from day to day, it's just a whole crazy mess.
It's fine. We're fine.
It's fine. We're fine. We shouldn't lead with something negative. We'll just say
I know.
Everything is perfectly fine. We are here today sniffing the honey pot. This is the Lupercalia perfumes that have the lab's beautiful signature vegan honey note as a strong component. And we have 6 out of 8 of them. So we will smell what we have. And for the others, you will have to either let us know what we've missed out on, or you'll just have to use your imagination. You're just going to have to close one eye and click that add to cart button and just know that it's probably going to be fine. You know why?
No.
Because you can't lose with honey.
Oh. Okay.
We just pulled these in random order. We didn't even go by the order of the site. Oh my gosh, and the first one I pulled is honeyed mushroom and incense. So boy, are we starting on kind of a weird note.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Honeyed mushroom and incense. In my brain, I know there's so many different kinds of mushroom, right? Like there's poisonous kinds and food kinds, and in my brain I went straight to like shrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, and I'm just like thinking of like a mushroom tea, you know, an incense situation.
Oh.
That's where my mind went.
That's not where mine
Where did your mind go?
Oh, it just like took about a step forward and then it stopped. And then it just awaited further instruction.
Well,
no. I was not thinking any kind of trippy mushroom. Just like maybe, you know, just some kind of mushroom.
like a shiitake?
Sure.
Like is it like a dried mushroom? Is it a foraged from the woodlands mushroom?
You know, the moisture content of the mushroom I had not factored in, so I don't know.
Well, why are we?
It's honeyed. It's not wet.
It's honeyed. I get lost in these questions when we have the answer
Let's
here.
Just smell it and
so
smell it and tell it.
Very bravely, no preconceptions except for that it might be trippy. Fascinating. Okay.
Okay, so it's like outdoorsy.
I'm getting like a kind of a nice woodland honey.
Mm-hmm.
In the bottle, I'm kind of getting like a kind of like a woody,
earthy.
Yeah, it's not like, and like there is like an incense component, but I can't pick it out. It's kind of super mellow. The honey's really strong, which in this instance is probably a good bet, because imagine if it was the most mushroom forward perfume ever, and like, you know, kudos, but I'm scared of that. It's got something kind of like rich and almost like creamy salty.
Mm-hmm. This is nice. I'm
going on the skin.
I'm rather surprised.
It's going on the skin. Someone's doing like a repair or something nearby. There's a clunk, a series of clunks. Don't worry, Disco's on it. We are safe from the clunks. We are being actively guarded against all outside clunks. Okay, so it is giving me mushroom tea a little bit. Not gonna lie. Like I'm maybe getting those like stomach woogies that you get when you've had the tea, you know, and you're just like, okay. Instead of the kind of like rich, heavy, full-bodied honey experience that can happen sometimes, I like that this is kind of a really thin, kind of light, glowy kind of honey.
Yeah.
This does remind me a little bit of like BPAL's Death Cap, which is a mushroom-themed scent from the Rappaccini's Garden General Catalog Collection. The honey and incense really takes it like out of a less kind of foresty place and more into like the cottage in the forest. What's her face on the Amy Sedaris show?
Oh yeah, the lady who lives in the woods.
The lady who lives in the woods. Yes. Yeah, this is like you're sitting at her table, listening to her make passive aggressive comments about
Esther.
Esther. Yeah. I like it. It's just kind of like gentle and mellow. The honeyed mushroom thing really made me worry that this was like a strong, funky experience that was going to get you kicked off the subway, but I don't really think that's what the case is here.
No, it's really pleasant.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling for like a words.
I was like, there'll be a punctuation mark.
It's just really nice.
Eventually, you can't just live life from one ellipses to the next. Well, let's move on
Can't
to the
I?
next one.
Question mark.
You're the one who told me that you find ellipses weirdly ominous.
Well, they are. Well, they are.
Now
They
I'm
are.
I'm really on guard against using
Especially
them.
when people are like, "Oh, so nice to see you again," or like,
dot.
"Oh, been waiting to hear from you." ... And you're like,
So I'm sure you will find your people here who agree with you, but I've always thought that's just really funny because, I don't know, I find them to be totally neutral. So
"No way."
the next perfume is honeyed amber, apple pulp, and neroli. I was going to say 3 things that I love, but it's actually 4 things that I love. Even if honey is not my preferred scent note, I can see what, it's part of the... oh my god, I can smell it already. Did that happen to you? I got like this kind of like...
apple pulp.
Yeah, it's like a Granny Smith kind of tang that I got from the bottle from like 7 inches away. So watch out, world. Just a really fresh green like apple, like you cut into it and you can smell it. I can't wait to smell this.
You already are.
I mean, like I can't wait to like smell of this.
Wait no further.
I can't wait to embody this. Neroli can be like a huge diva scene stealer, and in this blend, it's actually pretty well matched because honey and apple can also be scene stealers. They're all beautifully swirled together. My god.
Yeah, it's just like very fresh and crisp. And
Yeah.
like
There's a bit of like
Nice,
a
very
spice
nice.
to it somehow, not like a I don't know, like a baked apple spice situation, but just something kind of just like, yeah, it's like the freshness I think that actually just kind of like stabs you through the adenoids a little bit. Where it's just like, no, you're having like a real like organic experience. We're not talking like herbal essentials either. Like I think it's funny because if you just take apple on its own, like any fruit note on its own, it can actually be like so one-dimensional that it doesn't seem real. And something about this collection of notes like brings this into like 4 dimensions. Like I'm in the middle of like an apple tesseract,
oh no.
No, it's fine. I like it.
Okay.
Don't send help.
Okay. Hey, we're in here.
It's like a gourmand, except for it's so kind of sophisticated that you just know you shouldn't eat it,
Yeah, you should not eat these perfumes at all.
Maybe like it's like the Eris's Discordian apples, where it's just like, oh my god, it's beautiful. It's like only harm can come of like indulging in this. It's like too perfect. I'm sold. The only other apple perfume I've ever been tempted by is the one that's the Fool from the 15 cards from a vampire tarot that we did with Neil Gaiman, which is kind of like a apple, and it has, I think it's like ashes. It's like a really unusual one. And mint, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple goodness.
Apple goodness.
Honeyed apple goodness. ...
Now you're starting to freak me out. Here's another that I was really excited about. Honeyed weed and dandelions.
Yeah.
What does this collection of things like say? Like where are we?
What is Beth telling us?
Who's doing this? Why?
Honeyed weed.
Honeyed weed and dandelions. Like what story does this tell? What picture does this paint?
You got your weed in my honey. You got your honey on my weed.
And it's all just in my dandelions.
And it's
all up in my dandelions.
Fell from there into a dandelion thicket.
A dandelion thicket.
And then that's what we're talking about now. ...
So I need help from the BPAL verse on this one because This collection of notes seems like there might be overlap with Roadhouse, which is a classic BPAL GC that is discontinued, and that's another like weedy dandelion smell, and I don't remember smelling that one, and I don't know how it compares. I need somebody with like this information to chime in. So in the meantime, I will just say that I remain ignorant on this subject. Ooh, you're a little
What's
weedy
that?
dandelion hound, aren't you? Disco's attention has been nabbed by this one. This is like, it's really beautiful.
It is, and it is weedy.
It's like the so there's this earthy greenness, right? That's like a very kind of deep base, and the honey just kind of glides over the top of it, almost like something carried on the wind if you were like laying in the grass or whatever, or like, you know, hitting the grass, taking the grass internally. Wow. Great use of the weed note to blend it with other greens, so that it's just kind of like suggested and part of this like outdoor festival experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? It doesn't
Yeah.
have that kind of musty closed in, you know? Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm catching all of it here.
I was at Coachella leaning on your shoulder,
Oh my gosh.
smelling the honeyed weed
We need
and
to get
dandelions.
this in LDR's manicured talons pronto. Wow.
It smells really nice. Like, again, just like a surprise.
I like sampling the weed perfumes that we do, but I don't find myself really wearing them. They're often like pretty intense, like, you know, paired with other things. There's something about how mellow this experience is, where I'm just like, I'm comfortable flying this banner as I walk through the world. The honey really kind of tempers the stank.
It does. It
You
makes
know?
everything very interesting.
Yeah. It would probably layer really interestingly with that mushroom scent also.
I think so.
And then, it's still an outdoor festival, but then it's like a forest rave, and
Right.
everyone's wearing fairy wings,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. It's like when the day concert turns to night concert.
Oh, yeah. Glow sticks.
And
You
you're
know.
like, oh my god, ... What was in that tea?
Yeah. I love this. It's just so comforting, you know? Like, again, the weeds smells of the past, like a lot of them, like they're tempered with this kind of like illicit
Yeah.
sensibility. And this really is like all good times. It's just Mother Nature, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Definitely.
Also, if this was a
Good
weed
vibes.
in a bag, I would smoke it. You know? Like if
Right. You're like, oh my.
Yeah. It's like, again, like with the mushroom one, it's kind of like a really bright like nimbus honey, not like a goopy drizzle. So it's just like there's it's just like kind of a floating like a cloud of beautiful sweetness over this bright green palette. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. I don't even think Beth smokes weed. So
No,
Also-
but she's definitely smelled it if she can really nail this like accord thing that she's created, because it smells like it.
well, we're definitely, she's a California baby through and through. And we
Right.
definitely, I will say this and drop this as a teaser mid-video, that we do have exciting 420 plans for the world. So,
...
the tripod just moved. I saw it wiggle because there was like a dog snuffling around down there. So, it is not an earthquake. The next one we have is honey, green tea, and KHUS. How would you pronounce?
KHUS.
So, I guess we're staying in a nice, like, greeny, grassy place here because is not KHUS or KHUS, as the pronunciation guide online, the robot pronounced it. Is this like a greeny, grassy, herbal thing of some kind?
I couldn't see from... I wasn't like...
Let's go on
a...
a
Tell.
educational journey. Will you hold my bottle?
I'll try. Tall grass plant with leaves.
Yeah, we're just talking like, like clearly it's just none of my business. Like if I needed to know, it would have been easier to find out. So let's just see what this smells like. This smells like I should be able to drink it. In fact, if there was like a green juice that smelled like this, it would be preferable to green juices I have consumed in the past.
This is much sweeter than the other ones we've smelled so
Yes.
far, and I'm surprised by that.
I bet there's like a lot of honey in this to maybe compensate for like the bitterness of these other notes, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Green
like,
tea.
would
can
you
be
like some
intense.
tea with your honey?
Yes.
And you're like, oh shoot,
Sure, just a splash.
I'll have a little on top of my honey bowl.
Right. And it's funny how much sweeter this is than the honeyed weed and dandelion one.
It's much sweeter.
Yes. We've been laughing. ... We're watching The Dropout about Elizabeth Holmes, and played by the brilliant Amanda Seyfried. And there's a lot of, a lot of talk about green juice on the show, to the point where we just call the show Green Juice.
That's what I've been calling it.
Green Juice.
Green Juice. Do we have a new episode of Green Juice tonight? Which
Yeah,
we don't.
we don't.
It's Thursdays.
I'm really excited to see how
Hello.
it resolves.
Like, it's so sweet, it almost smells like candy.
Yes, it's like a really bright, like crystallized honey. I know the audience is also with you on this.
Ooh. Whoa!
This is one where I want to see as it tempers down if any of that honey flies off and just leaves us with this kind of like greeny, earthy base. I always give people, like, it's funny when people talk about green scents or they want something earthy or whatever, and there's just so many ways to go. And green tea often really scratches that desire.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's just like a really bright and sweet green that I bet is going to fade into like a kind of a grassy place. It's just so strange to inhale a dog hair directly up my nose and then to like catch it at the very last second, like that demon hanky, and drag me to hell and have to pull it out. I'm definitely getting tea shop vibes from this.
Ooh. Okay, the bitterness of the tea is starting to come out a little bit more.
Yeah. It's like because you
Making
leave it to
kind of
steep.
crisp and green. Yeah, just
Leave it to steep long enough and it'll pretty much take the paint off your eyeballs.
I don't paint my eyeballs.
This reminds me, there was like a honey tea one from the Black Lives Matter Triumph in Our Song collection. I feel like that was that chamomile. I think that was a little more like that. Similar though, like a lovely sweetened, like herbal grassy perfume. This is a spring jam.
Oh, wow. It's nice. It surprises me. I'm surprised. I feel like I keep saying that. ...
Is it possible to use ellipses as one's only punctuation mark? ...
Right.
Yes.
You want to come on?
He wants something. I didn't know that we had this one here, so I'm very excited. I thought this was one of the ones we were missing. Wildflower honey, pink rose, and sandalwood. I mean, this is a no-brainer.
That one had actually been sitting right here for like 2 weeks.
I think
Because we had brought it out for another video on accident, and it was one of the Minaj ones, and you pulled that out. And
so
I went,
me.
That's not one of them.
Right.
You can check. It's on camera.
You can see how I might have become confused because it's a list of 3 things on a black and white background. Wow.
Oh wow.
That's a very freshly cut rose. Fascinating. Wow. Okay. This doesn't smell... I've smelled a lot of rose perfumes lately for, personal and professional reasons. And this is nothing like any of them. I was expecting it to be like maybe a little more like the one that we did for the Rosebud Tarot, which was just released. We created a perfume that was a Kickstarter reward, which they may or may not be selling on their website. I need to check. Beautiful fresh cut rose, lightly sweetened. I was going to say kind of a greeny woody base that I know must be the sandalwood, but in the bottle the rose is just like so perfectly standing out that like I'm not getting like an incense quality. And we're just going to like see what happens. I would basically be happy if I smelled like this forever, I think. This is like should be my neutral scent, my body neutral scent. Like anything else you put on top of that is, that's your business. I love to go for the gusto with rose. I just think it's like a fun note to like really put on blast. And this is such a beautiful, delicate rose. It reminds me a little bit of the one in the, I love that Dead Leaves green cognac and tea roses from Weenies a few years back. That is just one that I love a lot. And of course there's like other things in there that make that smell. This is the first rose I think that I've smelled that really reminds me of that specific rose. There's like a light tartness to it, which my brain wants to read as like a citrus almost, like a pink grapefruit. I don't know what's pinking this. I believe it's because an acrobat washed her red tights in the bin that we were using to brew it in, resulting in a pink final product. It's like a bit of...
I just like mental image of like this stray acrobat wandering into the lab and being like, is there anywhere I could wash my tights?
Or you don't ask, you just do it.
And she's like, oh, that bucket'll do.
Furtively sneaking into the lab, scrubbing out tights.
And you're like, excuse me, do you work?
Runs out.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
you left your tights.
For those who do not know what I'm referring to, it is like a bit of lore related to the invention of pink lemonade, which they didn't have like, proof back then of anything. It was just like there were no cell phones, so you can be like, LOL, selfie with acrobat washing out pink tights. You just had to take people's word for it, which is why most of the stuff we learned in school is wrong. So
just the idea of someone being like selfie with like this full acrobat in the
random
back.
Acrobat. That's so random. But back to the
what
perfume
is my life
in question. This started though because I thought there was almost a citrus tartness to it. That honey just gives it a glow. But it's not a really strong, again, like not a really strong, gunked up honey experience.
There is something weirdly citrusy about it. I'm not sure what.
Just like a beautiful pale pink, a beautiful pale green, light citrus tang. And I don't really get the sandalwood, but I hope to. Anything else to say on the subject of pink rose?
No. ...
The last one that we have, and again, apologies for not, having a complete set, but we're just working with what we got. Black honey, spicy black rose, and amber oud. My introduction to this one was Galen telling me that this was the Femme Fatale blend of this year's Lupercalia series, as last year's was was it the year before? Time blur.
It was last year.
Which was the honey, black lilies, and gardenia petals, which was like the va-va-voom, like full stop perfume to like let people know that you've committed murder and that you enjoyed it, and that if you call the police to report them, that you'll just have sex with the police. Like that Tweety Bird meme. So you're of the opinion that this perfume stands toe to toe with that one in terms of feminine villainy.
I don't know, toe to toe. It's a completely different villain, different year, but
it's the next year.
She definitely enjoys a murder in her feminine wiles.
I'm sold. Let's dive in, shall we? Disco, leave it. Wow.
The rose is spicy.
So this murderess puts her victims in a trunk.
It's a really nice trunk.
Oh, there's rose petals scattered and like a scrapbook of their time together, and then if you go in the basement, it's just a row of trunks. Like one of those
victim gets a trunk.
One of those boarding house murderers.
Oh no.
I know. There's something kind of deceptively clean about this on the nose at first.
Yeah.
It's like you get a bit of a sweetened rose that seems like kind of innocent, and then it's kind of like, it's like one of those things where then you realize that if you took one more step, you would fall off a cliff.
Yes.
Into this like deep abyss, which is also rose scented in like a scarier way. Like inviting, but impossible to rest easy. It's like a seductive rose, but there's also something kind of forbidding about it, Like it might be dangerous to approach.
Of all the ones that we've smelled, this is the one that doesn't like scream honey to me, because I think the rose is just like too strong of a note for it.
She's grown too powerful. We're going to have to send in, heavier artillery to take her down.
I don't doubt that there's honey in here.
No, I can detect the honey. It's just kind of like a speckle, a splorch, And then that oud is fascinating because I love, it's not the frightening barnyard oud that, many sick freaks also just particularly love, including me sometimes. But it's like that one that I've noticed that comes up a bunch in some of our rose scents, like the Wish and stuff, where there's just this kind of like...
It's like more of the sweet oud.
It's like a mischievous, like a mischievous tartness that kind of confounds your, I don't know. This is like where I think where the uneasiness is coming from in it, where it's just like, now, there is something amiss here. ... So I'm torn because out of my favorites of the batch, I was really... I mean, I don't know what I expected, but that weed and dandelion one, I want to take it on some outings and see how it goes. That's I want to test drive it further because I have curiosity about it that must be satisfied. Especially if it turns out that it's a substitute for, long-lost Roadhouse, which, I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to smell in its pure form. And then this pink rose, which unbelievably is kind of sweetening up on the skin as I'm smelling it. I would have kind of expected it to do the opposite. Beautiful, beautiful. Just two very carefree scents. You know what I'm saying? And then this, the darker rose one, there is definitely some care involved. Take care.
I like the spicy rose one a lot, and I've been wearing that one repeatedly. The honeyed mushroom and incense one is also really interesting.
That was a fun surprise.
Though I can't remember where the hell it is on my arm.
I'm glad that I don't have to be afraid of it anymore.
Is that it? I think that's it.
It's really, it's funking up on the skin a little bit in a pleasant way. I'm like, that is a funky mushroom, folks.
The weed one is also great.
Yeah.
And just surprising in terms of our weed scents.
This isn't a collection that I personally really look forward to every year, but I have to really give it up to Beth for the originality and the sheer variety, because every time I think I've kind of, I get it, I've seen it all, honey in this, honey in that, there's stuff here that I just have not smelled before. What a fun journey.
Yeah.
Disco, come here. Come here. It's time to say goodbye. You want the treat? He's like, this is a trap. Why are you so scared? Come on. Come be a lap baby with me for a minute. More Lupercalia coming soon. I want to sniff the chocolates. We got the shungas. If we can do more of the GC because we didn't really, we barely scratched the surface. So thank you for tolerating our, endless fits of whimsy.
Yeah.
And sporadic silences. And we will come back to you soon. ...